miserable. That's better.
There's 3 chimneys.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. We're doing a tour today, school trip. Visiting Lloyd Elliot of Elliot's Sugar Bush. Locally here. I got some supplies from him this year, and he said we could come by for a tour with the kids. So take a look around. So this obviously is the sugar shack. He's got all of his stuff in here. You can see he's cooking away up there. Huge maple bush here. He had 1,400 taps last year. This year he reduced to 1,200. Still a lot of syrup, and he made 400 liters of syrup last year. He's got a pipeline system, so we use pails. You could hang pails on the trees. We use ice cream pails, so they're not sturdy enough. We set them on the ground and then use the lines to go from the tree to the pail. Where he's running, all his lines are connected, and then they gravity feed into these tanks. Then he drives around with the tractor, sucks these tanks empty, and brings it all up to the shack here, where it gravity feeds in. Well, he pumps it into a gravity feed tank, and then it feeds into his system. So we'll go have a look.
Good morning, guys.
You don't mind being on here, eh?
No.
Okay.
You'd be surprised how many times I've been on YouTube.
Oh yeah? Oh, there you go.
Oh, and I deliver with septic tanks when I'm hoisting the big tanks into the ground.
Oh yeah, people filming all that all the time too.
They're
There you
just all
go.
excited about that.
Okay. Well, we like to film some things once in a while. This is obviously a little bigger than what we got. Ours is working though.
Good.
I had to do some adaptations to it, but it's cooking now. It only does maybe 30 liters at a time or something.
Well,
We just made a bunch of scrap, right? So.
Like you can take one of these pans and make syrup too. Just like, see, this is just
Yeah, it just cooks slower. Right.
Well, a lot slower. But really, what I'm doing here for say 1,200 taps, it's too much for this evaporator.
Okay, you should have a bigger
Where I
one.
have the reverse osmosis,
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
it makes a big difference.
I'd like to see that. Yeah.
Well, I'm not doing it right now because the weatherman's calling for poor weather.
Right. Next week it won't run real good.
No, so
Okay.
Royal Pain, one, I have to take it down to the house because you can't let it freeze. So it's a big monster to haul around. But also there, if it sits for any amount of time, you got to clean the membranes.
Okay. It gets dirty.
But no, it starts growing fungus or mold.
Oh,
or
okay.
algae on it there, and that reduces your performance. So you got to
Yeah,
keep
makes
it clean.
sense.
Look at that, he's got a porter's hat.
Yeah, I see it. I see that when he put it on. That's his favorite too. So.
The water goes up here and drips into the pail over there.
Well, the steam comes up and it's actually going up that pipe, but it condensates on the walls, so it runs down these channels, and then you can see them dripping out in the pails on each side. But also, inside the hood, I've got a bowl below the chimney for the steam, and I'll show you over here. Big pot. Oh, sheet. I collect the steam or the condensated water. I've got hot water for doing dishes
Well, there you go.
or whatever.
So there's a big tank in there.
Well, it's about a 20-inch bowl underneath the chimney.
Okay.
And I got it plumbed so it'll come out for me.
Handy.
It reduces the amount of water I have to carry up here.
Right. You don't have any water here. You told me you had no hydro in here either.
No
right?
hydro, yeah. I've got the generator, and
If
I
needed.
fired up the generator this morning, filled up my gravity feed tank.
Okay. So you bring it in from the bush.
Here's the woodshed.
Okay. All of it's up here.
This tank came from Wags Creamery in Mindamway. My father got it a lot of years ago.
Old stainless steel milk tank.
Yeah, it was actually called the cream tank there.
Cream tank. Okay. So the farmers would have brought their milk to it and dumped it in there.
Yep.
Okay. And you do that from outside, through that hose?
What? There's a hose from the outside that
Yeah.
there, and I've got a gas pump on my
Back of the
trailer
tractor there?
for the sat. But generally, I'll put it into one of those tanks that are out in the trailer and run it through the osmosis. And the off product is distilled water out of it, so I save that so I can wash everything. And I actually put the distilled water in my outdoor furnace.
Oh yeah.
Not scale build up.
That's right, yep, they would be free from that. So that goes in here, and then you have a float that keeps this thing full. So this is going in on its own. The float regulates how much is coming in. This is just a float. So you can see it's coming in there. As he's cooking it down, more water's coming in from that tank that he just showed us. Okay, and then here it's hooked up. If you look here, it goes in. So that's going into this tank, which we can't see into, but so it's all boiling inside of here. Yeah, don't touch good, it'll be hot. So the fire is in there and runs through this thing all the way up, and it heats the whole bottom of this pan, and then it'll go up the chimney and out.
But inside this
And so all of this is cooking.
it's called flue.
And then it'll move back and forth in there, and eventually ends up in these front ones.
Inside the back of that pan there's flues. And that's the side of the pan there, and the side of the pan there. And there's a divider up the middle. So the way the arch is built underneath, the flames go up in between these flues, so you get more boiling surface. So that when the flame's going up there, you got more surface to make and it uses all the heat versus they're just a flat pan, which takes a lot longer. And I'm just boiling water right now to check the boiling point. I did it once, but my dipper says different. Boiling point of water in Fahrenheit is 212 degrees. Syrup is 7 degrees above the boiling point of water. So I've set this dial that's on the furnace, or on the evaporator, to 0 in boiling water. But when it comes up to 7 degrees there, which I think it's above it now, I take the dipper and I check the thickness of the syrup when it's cooling off. And that's more accurate than using temperature. And there's another way of doing it with these things called hydrometers. But I find you waste a lot of syrup, so I hardly ever use it. The dipper is the most accurate.
You've been doing it long enough, you know what you're looking for. So.
Yeah.
You finish it in there too, or you bring it home?
No, I actually, see the 2 pots in that little cart? I'll put the syrup in there, draw off the batch, and then I'll heat it up on these propane stoves.
Okay, right here. Yep.
Double check that I'm right, and then I'll save it to go through the filter press.
Oh, right. You were showing me that yesterday.
Yeah,
so that's
that
over
filter
there.
press, I'll put it through that when I got a big enough batch. There. What do you guys use for a thermometer? Something like this, or 1820s, this thermometer here?
Okay.
And it's not easy to use. These ones are a lot easier.
You said you are 5th generation?
Yeah.
Doing syrup.
Yep.
So a long time.
Yep.
There are limits to how long you can tap the trees?
Sorry, well, the one part there where you see the tank that's almost full,
yep,
where there's 200 taps on there, they've been on tap now for since the 70s.
For a long time, yeah.
So yeah, they're, as long as you're careful where you choose to tap each, it'll
be fine.
They're fine.
Yep.
But eventually I will move things. I'm just gonna
look out, kids.
Yeah. See, according to this right now, I'm half a degree above the above syrup. But then, where did I put my ladle? If it's not attached to me, I lose it. This one I don't like. It's an aluminum ladle. I didn't go far. It's getting hot. Too much. We let that cool off a little bit. See, the drips are too fast. When it's syrup, it's going to come off and spread out and make a long. It's slowing down. You can see that last drip's holding on, but it's still too thin. So my dial gauge isn't working all that accurate. Hydrometer is specifically for sap, and it'll tell
percentage.
me. Actually, we can go up. Well, I can't go too far there, but put it in the sop, and then you just take the reading off of it. Yesterday, it read 2, which is about 2% sugar content. Then I've got a little sheet here I just printed out this morning. I go to there, and they call it bricks 2.0. It's 43 to 1. If I boil off 43 gallons of sop,
Yeah.
I'll get 1 gallon of syrup.
Right, makes sense. So that particular tree that we tasted yesterday might have been like a 4 or 5 or something, maybe, or
Could be, yeah.
for whatever reason.
The highest I've ever seen out of when you put everything together is about 2.8.
Oh, okay.
0.8. That's 30 to 1.
That's pretty good.
That's really good. But with the reverse osmosis, I take it down to 5%, and it's not even on here.
Right, then you got way less boil time in here.
Oh, I take so much water out that I'm real busy taking batches off. By the time
'Cause
I
it
get
goes so much
everything cleaned
faster.
up and there, I'm almost ready to take off another batch.
Yeah, makes sense. There you go. How much fire would you go through?
What did I make last year? The sheet here. Liters of syrup last year using the reverse osmosis.
400 liters. Wowzers.
Yeah, and I burnt about 20 face cord of wood.
A good chunk of wood.
Well, you think go before that would have been 40 to 50 cord
Before you had this system.
before I had the reverse osmosis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, yep, that makes sense. Yep. Because you've cut your burn time down.
Yeah. This evaporator is also a lot more efficient with that flue pan. The old pan we
Okay.
had, they were just flat pans.
Flat bottom instead of the corrugated like you showed.
Is what went between the pans. So you had one big flat pan and a smaller pan and a smaller pan. You filled them up. It's like a siphon. As long as the levels,
Okay, it would pull itself
it would
across.
pull itself over. So, and this is from, say, well, that's lead solder.
It'd be a little old.
I'd say it's from 30s or 40s.
30s, 40s, good.
Look at the top.
Yeah, okay. Cast iron spiles. The old, that's what I used when I was a kid. And then we went to that in 80s. And just recently, in the last 10 years, we went to 5/16 versus 7/16.
Smaller holes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
that's the ones we got there in the black
yeah,
ones.
yeah. And it's amazing how fast a tree can heal over with the 5/16 versus a 7/16.
You would have used lines for those first ones too?
These?
Yes.
Nope.
Oh, no, that's buckets. You got a hook on
They
them
would
like
have had the
this.
buckets
Yeah.
hanging off of that. And before that, there's a wooden one up there someplace, or used to be.
We got that guy.
No, that's not it though. Used to be, and the squirrel probably ran off with it. But yeah, they used to use fastwoods.
Yeah, you go too.
Oh yeah, ours
In the second,
on top of the
It's hard to
stove
see from
burner.
that side.
it does that too. That tells you you're getting kind of close.
Yeah, this is the stage where it usually turns to candy for us.
Oh,
No, ours is doing like up.
oh, it boils over
I
on you,
just
doesn't
find
it?
it goes really fast. All of a
Okay,
sudden.
if you got butter and margarine or an oil,
Just put it in there.
you just put a little dab in, like a quarter of a teaspoon, throw it in there, and that'll knock that down.
Okay.
Actually, I'll show you. I use kosher anti-foam. There, I bought this about 7 or 8 years ago. Used very little. I just took a pinch. I'm just going to throw half a pinch in there and half a pinch in there.
Oh, wow.
See how it knocks it down?
Yeah, I don't think the camera got it, but yeah, the bubbles are way down. Isn't that something?
Yeah. And I've got a good heat on because, well, you can even see the difference in color of the boil in the back pan.
Yeah. Boy, that smells delicious. Have you ever tried birch?
No. The reason being is birch is the sugar content's really low. Like it's 80 to 1,
okay, yeah,
90 to
boil a lot
1.
more. Yeah.
So that's 4 times as much wood, really.
Okay.
There, but
But countries that don't have maple syrup, then obviously that's the only
Yeah.
option, I guess. Like when we lived in Western Canada, they don't have any maples.
No.
So I knew some people that tapped birch. I never actually tried it.
that lasted a bit longer.
Still not syrup though.
How much syrup have you made so far this year?
This will be my first batch.
First batch. There you go. We're on a lucky day.
Now you guys have one this size.
Yeah. Yep.
There, I have a hard time reading that now.
Eyeballs aren't what they used to be.
Oh, bifocals and that. Time to get things checked out. You can see how our boil is not all foamy now. Let's see what that does.
Is it still adding more into it?
Yeah, that's gravity feed through that pipe. There's a float on the other side that you see on that sight glass there. I'm running about 1.25 inches above the flue so that I don't squirt my syrup. Right down there where the black part is. If you look at the side of it, you can see the sap bouncing around inside.
Oh yeah.
There, that's just to make sure. I keep an eye on that all the time so that I make sure I don't burn my pans. Then it comes through here. This float here controls the amount of close to syrup. There.
Yeah, because this would turn into syrup and then you'd still be adding more in.
Yeah, and it's always adding, and it has to do with density there. The thicker the syrup, the more it's pushed back into this front pan. That's why there's always that flow coming to the front, and it all comes out of this valve here. You can see it's, after me resetting it there, it's 1 degree away from syrup. So I didn't set it proper there this morning. It's a mechanical thing. Not when I'm so close, but would only last so long. We're done.
That got thinner, you said?
Yeah, and the temperature dropped, so the ladle and that are great.
So do you
A
have
little bit, yeah.
to turn
That's
the
from the
generator
second
on
one.
for the lights on?
This here one here.
Okay.
Yeah, this one's real close.
Oh, that was the second pan. You pulled it up.
Yeah.
Well, I'll shut the door here.
Close, but no cigar. Yeah, you can tell it's freezing because the sap I pumped up this morning, you can see the icicle hanging off of the pipe that I pump up into my gravity feed tank.
What are all these hoses for?
For the reverse osmosis that I use, and there's also a generator cable that I plug in to the building. What? 10 years ago, I bought this little pump, Princess Auto, for $90.
It's just running good.
And that's all I have to use. Before, I'd use a submersible pump to go into the barrels.
Okay, yeah.
It'd take forever just to pump. Say,
This one would move a lot more fluid.
oh yeah. There, I can fill a tote like this up in about 10 minutes. So
Okay.
This one's 350 gallons.
Yeah, it's a little bigger now.
Yeah. But there, just change the oil and keep the mice out of it and you're okay.
Keeping a lid on helps.
Yeah. This hasn't been completely drained, but I'm not too worried about it.
Why do you need a lid over top?
Keep the raccoons and squirrels out and any dirt. Out quite a bit from yesterday.
It did, yeah. I'm trying to remember where it was. So this thing here you were explaining to me yesterday, that's used to go on the old stone boat, right?
Yep, that's the tank they gathered. I don't know if the snow is off the top of it or not.
So they would have pails on the trees, dump them into this,
Yep.
pull it through the bush with a horse. Well, I never noticed yesterday. It actually has a lid on it. Okay.
Screen in it, so no bark and little bugs get into it.
Filters it right away. Yep.
Then this pipe here, it's on a rubber grommet, and it just tips over when you want to put it into your big tank.
Right.
And there's actually an AJW on there. That'd be my grandmother's father's brother. AJ Wag was the man that had Wag's store and Wag's Creamery.
Okay. I've
And
seen
Minimum
Wag.
right here.
Okay, I've seen a sign for Wag Creamery somewhere.
That's where
So you said you have 1,400 taps last year, this year 1,200?
yeah. I cut back a little bit because it was just too much for me.
Too much work, yeah. And then it all gravity flows into here.
Yep.
Well, multiple tanks. You have
I've got 7 of these tanks.
7 tanks, okay. Pretty neat, eh?
There.
So similar to what we're doing.
I call it the field line. You can just see it way in the back there. That's got a beautiful slope. The 4 tanks I have on there have the beautiful downhill.
The black one is the field line, is it?
Further back. This one here curls back in there, but
Oh, it dumps
just
into
further
here.
back there. On the field I have 4 tanks.
Okay. So all these blue ones go into the black one,
Yep. That's called the main line.
and then it hooks up and dumps in the barrel. It's a lot of sap. He was telling me that yesterday, that we can just get caps for the end of them. We don't have to haul them all in.
That just keeps the
Keeps bugs and stuff from crawling in the
mud
hose.
wasps, I call them.
Right, that's the problem we had with our first year with the hoses. They all got
Yep.
junking, and then you had to try to wash them out.
And they were hard to get cleaned out too. Sorry?
Well, that was back when the tree was shorter.
Oh, that's when we had lots of snow
Oh, okay.
there. But yeah, you can see on the trees back there now, even though we don't have much snow, I've got that what they call the drops from the
Oh,
spile
that's
down
another
to
pretty high. Yeah.
the other line. There, I've got it so the gravity creates a vacuum. But
Yeah. Pulls more out of the tree that way.
it keeps the sap out of the spile,
Okay.
so that the sap actually helps healing process. So instead of having a month, I'd have 3 weeks,
Okay.
things like that. But there are some situations where it just doesn't work out. Who's first?
What is that?
It's called maple butter.
Maple butter?
Why, you can take steak. I have a whole bunch of steaks here.
Yummy.
You guys can make this.
Now you were telling me that yesterday. How do you do that again?
21 degrees above the boiling point of water.
Okay. Then take it off and whip it.
You've got to let it cool off.
Okay.
There, and be very careful when you're moving it around. If you bang it, you'll actually see the sugar crystals develop on top of the thick syrup.
Okay.
Then, well, come on.
And you want that or don't want that?
You don't want that.
Okay.
Yeah. These guys will be bouncing up walls there very shortly. Why is this so thin? It's warm, I guess.
I don't want to stick to the spoon.
Thank you.
Dad?
Oh yeah, I won't say no to that.
You know, I could make some toffee, but these guys have probably made toffee already.
Not this year yet. Soon. Thank you very much.
Coffee?
Nobody's
So
got
candy?
peanut allergies? Because that goes so good with peanut butter.
No allergy there, no.
And this is all the
Yummy.
way, it's always like this there, you get so. But then there's that little sign on the side there. They changed the grading system a few years ago, and we got to follow that now. But I don't care for the light syrup. Some people just love it. Me, the darker the better. But
A guest book going for everybody.
well, I can show you something here on this side. There's a guest book and logbook,
How far back does that go?
1996.
There you go.
And there, my uncle, he liked doing math. 214 imperial gallons is almost 1,000 liters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's more math over there. And well, that's covered up, but my father used the expression, a full bag of sugar. Just go underneath here, if I can. Stuck to something. A poor loaf of bread. Generally, if you get a real good syrup season,
Yep.
there your wheat crops generally.
Not so good. Oh, really? That's interesting. But they fit together like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and what year was it? I've got a chart here. I made 750 liters in 2019. And
That was a bad crop year.
That was a bad crop year.
Okay, so we actually have to hope for bad syrup years.
In a way, yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Lloyd,
My
for
pleasure.
touring us around here. As a token of appreciation, we brought you a hat.
A hat. Oh. Well, I'll keep that one clean.
Yeah, you do whatever you like with it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, my hats don't last very long.
No, they'll get dirty. So, well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. There, I'll set that right up there with some clean stuff.
All right, that was an enjoyable visit to the Sugar Bush. Really enjoyed it. I think everybody else did. Did you guys enjoy your time? Got to taste some maple butter, and the kids were drinking some almost syrup. It wasn't quite syrup, but close to it. So we were hoping to see him pour that off. Once he gets to a certain consistency, thickness, and temperature-wise, then he'll pour it off and finish it to actual syrup on a different stove. But it just couldn't wait any longer. I guess we had to get going. So unfortunately, we didn't get to see him pour it off. Maybe later in the year we can go again sometime. He welcomed us back at least. So very enjoyable experience. Nice to see a larger commercial unit like that. Obviously a lot bigger than what we're doing at home, what we're playing with, but pretty neat. So hope you guys all enjoyed that video. As always, please like, share, subscribe, drop your comments down below. Another thing I fail to mention all the time, but hit that notification bell. You get a lot of people that say they're not seeing the new videos when they come up, and if you hit that notification bell, you should get notified whenever there's a new video, so you don't miss one. So anyway, until next time, God bless you all. We'll see you later.
This old town, just put it all behind. Remember you and I would always find somewhere to hide when we were kids, so we could see and hear the water run. The river's gonna cry when you're gone. Hanging on, waiting for your call. Seems like time as a wave passing by, leave a mark in our minds to turn to memories. The river's gonna cry when you're